Have you ever wondered why you were born into exactly the family you have? Was everything you went through just a fluke? Or is there a greater purpose behind every pain and challenge? What if I told you that what you've experienced up until now was not a punishment, but a preparation? Today, you will discover the hidden truth about your story and how to turn pain into strength to live the life that was always meant for you. Before we continue, I want you to do 3 very important things right now. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. This is essential so that you continue to receive content that can change the way you see life. And more. I want you to comment right now, "I choose my transformation." This comment is not just a sentence, it is a commitment to your evolution. Typing these words will be the first step in changing your mindset and paving the way for a new journey. Now get ready, because what you're about to hear could change everything. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be born into homes filled with love and understanding, while others face hostile environments from childhood? Was it just bad luck, a simple coincidence of fate, or is there something much bigger behind it? The truth is that toxic families hide a deep mystery, something that goes beyond pain and suffering. These are apparently chaotic scenarios that in fact serve as fertile ground for a powerful awakening. What if this was all part of a bigger plan to transform you into something you couldn't even imagine? From an early age, those who grow up in dysfunctional family environments need to develop heightened sensitivity to survive. They learn to read emotions, predict behaviors, and adapt to unpredictable situations. But this isn't just a defense mechanism. It's silent training for something bigger. What seems like a disadvantage may actually be a hidden gift. Was your journey designed to make you a unique person, capable of seeing what others cannot? If you feel like you were born into unexplained chaos, know that you are not alone. There is a hidden pattern behind all this, a purpose that few perceive at first glance. As we move forward, you will begin to understand that the pain you carry may actually be the portal to your true transformation. And believe me, there is a gift hidden in this storm. Many people carry this doubt throughout their lives. Why me? Was I born into the wrong family? The feeling of not belonging is overwhelming, and the idea that you've been put in the wrong place can erode your self-esteem. But what if, instead of a mistake, there was a purpose behind this choice? Perhaps, rather than a curse, this was a carefully planned opportunity to shape her strength and resilience. Those who face family challenges early learn lessons that most people don't discover until much later in life. You may have been forced to mature quickly, to understand the complexities of human behavior, and to develop an emotional independence that others may not even imagine is necessary. This feeling of being out of place may actually be a sign that you have a special role to play in the world. No, you weren't born into the wrong family. You were born into the exact environment that would refine your essence and prepare you for something much greater. The key is to understand the hidden purpose behind challenges and transform pain into learning. What you do with it will determine whether your story will be a burden or a legacy of overcoming. Childhood is not just a passing phase of life. It is the foundation of everything. The first years of existence leave invisible marks, shaping your personality, beliefs, and even your future decisions. When growing up in a toxic environment, the impact of these experiences can be profound, often imperceptible, until they manifest themselves in repetitive patterns of behavior in adulthood. And the scariest thing, many people live for years without realizing that they are trapped in a cycle that began in childhood. If you have been constantly criticized, ignored, or invalidated, it is possible that today you face difficulties in trusting others, valuing yourself, or even believing in your own potential. Emotional wounds do not disappear over time. On the contrary, they turn into fears, insecurities, and even unconscious sabotage. But the good news is that once you recognize these patterns, you can start to break them. The first step to liberation is understanding that you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to do with your story. And when you start to see the root of your challenges, you discover that childhood may have been difficult, but it doesn't need to define your future. The power to change is in your hands. Behind a polite smile, behind a seemingly normal life, many people carry invisible pain. Growing up in a toxic family means learning to mask feelings, to pretend that everything is fine, while inside there is a storm happening. The world only sees the surface, but few understand the weight someone carries growing up in this environment. The emotional pain that comes from this kind of childhood is treacherous because it often cannot be explained in words. How to describe the emptiness of not feeling loved. How to put into sentences the frustration of never being heard. This type of suffering infiltrates the unconscious, influencing relationships, decisions, and even the way a person sees themselves. And what's worse, many victims come to believe that this pain is normal, that they don't deserve anything different. But there's a secret that few know, and that could change everything. Those who carry deep wounds also have extraordinary strength within them. Pain does not define who you are, but it can be the fuel for your transformation. When you understand this, you begin to realize that your story was not written to destroy you, but to make you indestructible. What if all the difficulties you faced in your family had a greater reason? What if, instead of a punishment, they were a call to something extraordinary? Many people spend their lives trying to understand why they were born into troubled homes, but few realize that there is a hidden purpose behind it. Nothing happens by chance, and the way you choose to see your path can change everything. Family challenges teach lessons that no school or book can teach. Resilience, empathy, understanding human behavior, these are all skills you may have developed without even realizing it. While others go on with life without much questioning, you were forced to look for answers, to delve deeper into your own existence. And this search is not a burden, but a calling. The big turning point happens when you understand that your difficulties were not random. You were placed in this family for a reason. And when you figure out what that reason is, your whole story starts to make sense. The past cannot be changed, but the way you see it can completely transform your future. Pain is a relentless teacher. Unlike the gentle lessons of life, those that are accompanied by suffering leave deep marks that are impossible to ignore. Growing up in a toxic family is like living in an emotional boot camp, where every negative experience teaches you something crucial about the world and yourself. Anyone who goes through this doesn't come out unscathed, but they don't come out weak either. It is forged in the fire of adversity, shaped by challenges that few could endure. It is in pain that we learn to truly know ourselves. When everything around you seems hostile, you discover the importance of trusting yourself, of developing an inner strength that doesn't depend on anyone's recognition. Learn that not everyone will support you, that there will not always be an outstretched hand, and that in the end, your greatest security needs to come from within. These lessons are cruel, but they are also liberating, because when you understand that you can count on yourself, no one else can bring you down. What many don't realize is that pain is not just suffering, it is a portal for transformation, growth, and the construction of a new identity. Many of those who have experienced life's greatest challenges emerge from them not as victims, but as leaders, as people who understand their mission. Because pain, when given new meaning, becomes one of the greatest powers that a human being can possess. There comes a time in the life of someone born into a toxic family when something changes. A silent but powerful awakening. You begin to realize that you think differently, feel differently, and see the world in a way that few understand. It's as if, suddenly, you realized that you were playing an invisible game, where the rules were never explained, but which always put you at a disadvantage. And that's where the question arises. Why? This awakening is scary at first because it comes with a feeling of isolation. You realize that your family's standards are not normal, that many of the things they taught you were wrong. And more than that, you realize that there is something inside you that wants more, that you know you were born for something greater. The problem is that there isn't always someone to confirm this, and the fear of the unknown can make you doubt yourself. But here's the truth. The fact that you feel like you're different is not an illusion. It's a sign that your journey was not designed to be like others. Those who go through family challenges often carry a greater purpose, something that needs to be discovered and developed. This awakening may be lonely, but it is the first step towards freedom. Because when you realize that you don't have to follow the same path your family did, a new world opens up before you. This is one of the most painful and difficult questions to answer. Why do some people grow up surrounded by love, while others are forced to deal with rejection, criticism, and abuse? If life were fair, everyone would have an equal start, right? But the reality is much more complex than that. And perhaps, instead of senseless injustice, there is something hidden behind these differences. What many people don't realize is that those who face difficulties from an early age develop a unique type of strength. While some grow up without needing to question anything, others are forced to become aware of their own existence, to seek answers, to challenge standards. This creates a rare type of individual, someone who does not accept life as it is, but wants to transform it. And ironically, it is these people who often end up impacting the world in big ways. It does not mean that the pain is fair or that it is easy to accept. But what if, somehow, your soul had chosen this path? What if, before you were even born, you already knew that you would need to face challenges to become who you really were meant to be? These questions may not have definitive answers, but one thing is certain: suffering can destroy or transform you, and that choice is in your hands. Many people spend their lives stuck in the past, believing that their story has already been written and that nothing can be changed. But the truth is that transformation doesn't depend on what happened to you. It depends on the meaning you give to it. What differentiates those who break free from those who remain trapped is the decision to take control of their own narrative. You can continue to carry your pain like a chain, or you can use it as a drive for something greater. Transforming your story begins with a simple but powerful act: recognizing that you are not defined by the circumstances into which you were born. Your family, your past experiences, your pain, none of these need be limits. On the contrary, they can be the foundations for a new version of yourself. But this takes courage. Courage to look back without fear, to face the wounds, and above all, to decide that the future will be different from the past. The key to this transformation lies within you. She always was. But only those who choose to see beyond suffering can use it. And when you do, you discover something amazing. The story that once felt like a prison becomes the greatest fuel for your freedom. Trauma is a lingering shadow. It infiltrates our everyday thoughts, feelings, and decisions. It often acts silently, influencing the way you see yourself, how you relate to others, and even how you deal with opportunities. Overcoming family trauma isn't just about moving forward. It's a deep process of internal reconstruction, where each piece needs to be put in the right place for true freedom to happen. The first step towards overcoming this is recognition. There is no point in ignoring or minimizing what happened. Pain needs to be validated, understood, and above all, given new meaning. This means looking at the past not as a life sentence, but as a starting point for something new. Many believe that overcoming trauma means forgetting it, but the truth is that it's about integrating it into your story without letting it define who you are. Real freedom happens when you stop being a hostage to pain, when you understand that the past cannot be changed, but the present can be transformed, and most importantly, when you realize that what once hurt you can become your greatest source of strength. Because overcoming trauma doesn't mean erasing what happened. It means deciding that it no longer has power over you. Pain never comes empty. It may seem cruel, devastating, and even unfair, but it hides something that few people realize: a gift. In the midst of suffering, in the chaos of a toxic family, there is silent learning happening, an invisible transformation that is only understood later. When everything around fails, when love and acceptance are not present, life forces you to become your own fortress. And that fortress, built with tears and endurance, becomes something no one can take away from you: genuine strength. Those who grow up in difficult family environments learn to observe more, to feel more, and to understand pain in a way that most never need to face. This sensitivity may seem like a burden at first, but it is actually one of the most powerful tools anyone can carry. The world is full of people who live on the surface, who never need to delve into their emotions or question their own pain. But those who have weathered the storm know how to navigate the depths. They have something rare: awareness, resilience, and a heart strong enough to not bend in the face of difficulties. The gift hidden in pain is not something material. It doesn't come wrapped in bows or comforting words. It comes in the form of evolution, of a deep understanding about life and oneself. It comes in the form of a call. You can become something much greater than what hurt you. Your story doesn't just have to be about suffering. It can be about overcoming, about how you turned each scar into a battle trophy. And this, perhaps, is the greatest twist that life can offer: using pain as a springboard for something extraordinary. Life is a great forge, and the fire of difficulties has a single purpose: shape you. Each challenge faced, each moment of pain and despair is not a punishment, but a polishing process. Just as iron is placed under high temperatures to become a sharp blade, people who go through difficult situations emerge stronger, more aware, and more prepared to face the world. The problem is that, in the middle of this process, few can see what is happening. Many feel weak, broken, as if they were victims of a cruel fate. But the truth is different. You're not being destroyed. You're being carved. Difficulty teaches lessons that comfort never could. It teaches you to have patience when everything seems impossible, to find strength when there is no more hope, to trust in yourself when no one else believes. It transforms pain into resistance, insecurity into courage, weakness into determination. People who have never faced challenges often crumble at the slightest difficulty because they never needed to learn how to fight. But those who have gone through internal battles carry something that no one can take away: the ability to get back up, no matter how many times they fall. The secret to turning pain into strength lies in how you choose to see it. If you continue to see yourself as a victim, you will remain stuck in your story. But if you decide to look at your scars like war medals, you'll realize that each one tells a story of resistance. The difficulties you faced were not a sign of weakness, but rather training for something greater. And when you finally understand this, nothing can stop you anymore. Not everyone feels this calling. Some people go through life without questioning their existence, without searching for a deeper meaning. But those who face extreme challenges, who carry scars from childhood and family, often feel something different: a drive, a restlessness, a certainty that there is something more to be had. This call does not come with an instruction manual, nor with ready-made answers. It begins as a seed planted in pain, as a need to understand why everything happened the way it did. And that's the first step to discovering your true purpose. If you feel like you were born for something greater, don't ignore that feeling. This feeling is not a coincidence, but a reflection of your own history. Every obstacle you faced prepared you for something most people wouldn't understand. Maybe your purpose is to help others heal, to use your experience to inspire, to create something that makes a difference in the world. What matters is not what happened to you, but what you do with it. Great transformations are born from great pain. The most impactful people in history were not those who had easy lives, but those who used their scars to create something powerful. If you feel this calling, know that it is not there by chance. He is proof that his story is not over. On the contrary, she may just be getting started. Many people spend their lives trying to forget the past, running away from the memories that hurt them, and the pain that never seems to heal. But the truth is that erasing history is not an option. What happened, happened. The marks that life has left on you are real. However, there is something much more powerful than trying to forget. Resignify. It's not about denying pain, but about giving it a new meaning. When you change the way you see your own trajectory, you transform what was once a weight into fuel for your growth. Reframing means looking at everything that happened to you and understanding that instead of being a victim, you are a survivor. Instead of carrying resentment, you can carry learning. Instead of letting wounds determine your future, you can use them as proof of your resilience. Every difficult experience you have had has been a stepping stone, not an anchor. You are not condemned to eternal suffering unless you choose to hold on to it. You have the power to decide that your story will not be remembered for pain, but for overcoming. The past cannot be changed, but the meaning you give it can. Everything you've experienced has brought you here. Every mistake, every tear, every moment of loneliness served to shape you, to prepare you for something greater. When you understand this, what was once a reason for revolt becomes a reason for gratitude, because you realize that without everything you've been through, you wouldn't be the person you're becoming now. And from that moment on, your story stops being a burden and becomes your greatest strength. If there is an absolute truth, it is this: your past does not have the power to determine who you will be tomorrow. What happened to you does not define your value, your possibilities, or your destiny. Many carry the weight of a difficult childhood, toxic relationships, a life full of challenges, and believe they are doomed to repeat these cycles forever. But that's the biggest lie you've ever been told. You are not your suffering. You are not the mistakes you made or the pain you suffered. You are what you decide to do from now on. History is full of examples of people who came from impossible scenarios and still changed their lives. What did these people have in common? They didn't let the past dictate their choices. They understood that each new day is a new opportunity to write a different chapter, and you have that same power. You can continue living with the same limiting beliefs you were taught, or you can decide to break the cycle. You can continue to see yourself as someone marked by pain, or you can choose to see yourself as someone destined for something greater. The past only has power over you if you let it. Your childhood does not determine your success. Your traumas don't have to define your happiness, and your story, as painful as it was, could still have a different ending. What do you choose to do from today? Do you choose to be a prisoner of what has passed, or an architect of what is yet to come? This choice, and only this choice, will determine what your life will be. And the good news is that it is completely in your hands.